I only ordered the DNA test because of a TikTok trend. It was supposed to be cute, matching ancestry results, family bonding, maybe one of those fun surprises like 1% Viking or surprise, you're Irish. What I wasn't expecting was to ruin 3 lives before lunch. My name's Erica. I'm 34, a mom of 1, married for 8 years to Tom, Mr. Stable, Mr. Predictable, Mr. I'll do the taxes while you nap. We live in suburban New Jersey, the kind of place where every other driveway has a scooter, a minivan, and a "Love lives here" sign. Honestly, I thought my life was boring. Turns out it was hiding a landmine. So here's how it started. A DNA test kit went on sale. One of those big brands with the fancy website and the pastel-colored interface. I bought one for myself and one for my daughter Mia, who's 6. She thought it was hilarious, spinning into a little tube like a llama. We mailed them off, made pancakes, and forgot all about it. 3 weeks later, the results pinged in. I opened the app, expecting pretty little charts, and for the most part, that's what I got. Until I clicked on the Matches tab. That's when my heart slowed down. Mia's profile didn't list Tom as her father. No matches. Nothing even close. Now, I'm not a geneticist. I'm a graphic designer. I stared at that screen for 10 full minutes thinking it was a bug. Or maybe I'd linked the wrong accounts. I double-checked email addresses, birth dates, spit samples. Everything matched. It was our kit, our daughter. And yet, the man I've been married to for 8 years wasn't even a blip on her DNA tree. I didn't sleep that night, or the next. I kept checking the app like it would magically fix itself. Finally, I did what any completely unprepared, anxiety-riddled wife would do. I Googled how to read DNA reports. Long story short, if Tom were Mia's biological father, it would be obvious. Parent-child matches are the first thing the system highlights. Instead, the algorithm was treating him like a distant stranger. I tried to remember if there could possibly be another father, a one-night stand, a blackout mistake, anything. But there wasn't. I wasn't unfaithful, not once. Which meant one thing, and it hit me like an ice bath. Mia might not be my daughter. I thought about every moment we'd shared. Her first word, badana, her first fever, her obsession with pink glitter slime, and suddenly my chest felt hollow. I ran to the bathroom and threw up so hard I burst a blood vessel in my eye. I needed answers, and fast. So I messaged the DNA company's support chat, trying not to sound like a lunatic. Their reply was clinical, almost cold. Samples are barcoded and matched internally. Human error is extremely rare. If you suspect an error, you may purchase an additional kit for verification. I did. I overnighted 3 more kits. For me, for Mia, and for Tom. But while I waited, I did something I'm not proud of. I checked Tom's phone. Not because I suspected anything romantic. I didn't. Tom's a spreadsheet guy. His idea of fun is organizing the garage. But in my gut, something itched. Something off. A crack I hadn't seen until now. So while he was in the shower, I used his fingerprint and opened his messages. There weren't any flirty texts, no selfies, no hidden Tinder, but there was something worse. An anonymous DM. It came from a burner Instagram account with no profile picture, no posts, just one chilling message. She's not yours. You knew that going in. I swear my skin went cold. I checked the timestamp, sent months ago, and he'd replied, "Delete this. We agreed. No more contact." I scrolled up, but the earlier messages were gone. Deleted, probably. The account was still active, though. Lurking. Watching. I felt nauseous again. What the fuck was I looking at? Was Tom part of this? Did he know something about Mia? That night, I couldn't fake normal. I made pasta, burned the garlic, and cried in the laundry room. Tom noticed, but I waved him off, said it was work stress. He hugged me, smelled like cedar and soap, and said he loved me. I nearly collapsed from the weight of the lie between us. 3 days later, the new DNA results arrived. I didn't even wait to sit down. I opened mine, checked Mia's. The maternal match lit up immediately. She was mine. I opened Tom's next. No match. Again. I dropped the phone. That's when I heard my email ping. It was from that burner Instagram account. No subject, no signature, just 3 words. Want the truth? I clicked the attachment. It was a video file. And the person holding the camera was Tom.
The video began with static and a low hum. Then Tom's face appeared, grainy but unmistakable, lit by the soft glow of a bedside lamp. He looked younger, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and he was whispering into the camera like he didn't want someone to hear. "I'm documenting this," he said, voice shaky, "in case she ever finds out, in case I can't explain it later." My fingers clenched so hard around the phone I almost cracked the screen. Tom sighed and looked off camera. "Mia's not Erica's, and not mine, but I swear to God I didn't plan for this to happen. I was just trying to do the right thing." The room spun. He kept talking. Her name was Jessica. She was part of the trial, surrogacy contract, medical testing. I don't know how they mixed it up. They said the embryo took, but then she backed out, and the clinic said, God, I don't even know if it was legal. But Erica wanted a baby so bad. She thought it was hers. And I didn't know how to tell her after she fell in love with Mia, so I let it go. We raised her. I signed everything. And then fucking Jessica, started blackmailing me. The video cut off. No explanation, no ending. Just static. I sat on the floor, trembling, piecing the words together like jagged glass. Surrogacy? A different mother? A medical mix-up? None of it made sense. But one thing was clear. Tom had known this entire time that Mia wasn't biologically ours. And he'd lied every single day of our lives. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't, because upstairs Mia was humming to herself, building a Lego castle. Oblivious, innocent. I needed answers. I needed confrontation. But first, I needed evidence. I clicked back into Tom's phone and found that same burner account on Instagram. I messaged it. "Who are you? What do you want from us?" No response. Yet. That night, I didn't sleep. I laid beside Tom, pretending to breathe normally while my mind raced. What kind of monster watches his wife raise another woman's child without telling her? Was he covering for a crime? A scam? Or worse, was he still in contact with Mia's biological mother? The next morning, I waited until Tom left for work. Then I tore through our filing cabinet. Birth certificate, his name. Hospital bracelet, ultrasounds with my name. But were they even real? I went back to the Instagram DM and opened the account's only story highlight. It was a single photo. Mia, playing at a park, taken from behind a tree. Zoomed in, labeled, "My daughter." I dropped the phone. Someone was watching her. I called Tom, straight to voicemail. I called again, still nothing. Then I did something unthinkable. I drove to his office. Tom works in IT at a fintech company. Card access, ID badges, the whole thing. I used the excuse of a lunch drop-off to get past the front desk. When I reached his floor, his coworkers gave me the kind of smile you give someone when you really don't want to be involved. "Tom's in a meeting," someone offered. I didn't wait. I went straight to his desk, and his computer was open. No password screen. I sat. Emails, Slack messages, a hidden folder titled J Confidential. My heart pounded as I clicked it open. Inside, dozens of files, voice recordings, photos, legal forms, and a signed non-disclosure agreement with a fertility clinic I'd never heard of, Cryo Labs. I barely had time to skim the document before I heard someone behind me. "Ma'am, you can't be here." Security. I slammed the laptop shut, grabbed a sticky note off the desk with an address scribbled on it, Shady Pines, Apt 3C, and bolted. Back in my car, I finally got a call. From the burner account. I didn't even know Instagram could call. I answered. Nothing but breathing. Then a woman's voice. "You shouldn't have dug this deep." Click. I dropped the phone. Then I looked at the sticky note. Shady Pines was 10 minutes away. I drove there on autopilot, still gripping the note like it could burn a hole in my skin. The building was old, paint chipping, buzzer broken. I climbed the stairs to 3C, heart hammering. Knocked once, no answer. Knocked again. Then the door opened, and standing there was a woman who looked exactly like Mia. Same eyes, same dimples, same tilt of the head when surprised. She blinked, swallowed, and then she said it. "You must be Erica."
I didn't remember walking in. One second, I was at her door, and the next, I was sitting on her lumpy gray couch while she poured tea like this was some kind of social call instead of a life-detonating moment. The woman, Jessica, I assumed, moved like she'd rehearsed this. Her nails were chipped, hair pulled back, dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept properly in years. She wasn't what I expected. She wasn't glamorous. She wasn't evil-looking. She looked wrecked. "Let's just cut the bullshit," I said. "You know why I'm here." Jessica sat across from me, held the mug with both hands like it was shielding her. "You found the file?" I nodded. She sighed. "Then I guess you know Mia's not yours. Or his." I flinched. "She is mine." Jessica looked at me with something between pity and exhaustion. I meant biologically. I wanted to slap her, but the rage sat behind my ribs churning like acid, and I couldn't even decide who to aim it at anymore. "I don't understand any of this," I said. "So start from the beginning. You were part of a surrogacy trial?" Jessica stared at her tea for a long moment. Then, "Yes, Cryo Labs, a new IVF method. They were recruiting women, offering money to donate eggs, carry embryos, participate in testing. I was broke, desperate. They gave me injections, ultrasounds, then told me I was pregnant with someone else's child. But Mia, she wasn't supposed to happen," Jessica whispered. "They said the fertilized egg they implanted belonged to you and Tom, but something went wrong. I think they implanted my own egg. Maybe my partner's sperm from an old sample. I'll never know. But I started to suspect. When I saw the ultrasound, she looked like me." I blinked. "So why didn't you keep her?" Jessica went quiet. "I wanted to," she said finally. "But when I told them I was backing out, they threatened to sue. Breach of contract. Said I'd be bankrupt by the time I got through court. And then Tom showed up." "What?" "Yeah. He came to me. Told me you couldn't get pregnant. Told me how much you wanted to be a mom. And he begged me to walk away." My breath caught. "He knew." Jessica nodded. "He knew the mix-up happened. He saw the same DNA test I did. The clinic was trying to bury it. He offered me money, 10 grand, to disappear. I was scared, and broke, and tired. So I signed over everything." I covered my mouth. "You sold her." "She didn't sell her.
I gave her up for what I thought were the right reasons, and I regretted it every day since. I stood up. You stalked her. You took photos of her in the park. Jessica didn't deny it. I just wanted to see her. I've stayed away for 6 years, but I saw you post her first day of school on Facebook. Your profile was public. It just spiraled after that. You messaged Tom. You threatened him. I didn't threaten. I just wanted to talk. Oh, bullshit. You blackmailed him. I saw the messages. Jessica's face changed then, hardened. Yeah, I did. Because after everything I gave up, after everything I lost, you two still played house while I sat in this dump alone. You think you're the only one who hurts? She got up, pulled up in a drawer, and handed me something. It was a birth certificate. Mia's. But this one didn't list me or Tom. It listed Jessica Bennett as the mother, and the father's name was redacted. I staggered back. You had the original? They forced me to file a new one after the adoption paperwork cleared. But this was before the lawyers erased me. Tears blurred my vision. Jessica stepped closer. I don't want to take her, I swear. But you need to know who she really is. Why now? I choked. Why come out now? Jessica bit her lip. Because Cryonova is shutting down. There's a class action lawsuit. Other families are suing. The whole program was a fraud. And your daughter may not be the only one. I staggered to the door. I couldn't hear anymore. I needed air. I needed space. My phone buzzed. A new message from the burner account. Just one sentence. You should check Tom's deleted files. I drove home in a daze. Mia was with her grandma for the night, thank God. I waited until Tom went to bed, then snuck back to his laptop. Used the recovery software. There were dozens of recently deleted files, some encrypted, some not. I clicked one. It was a video clip. A hidden camera recording. It showed a hospital room. A woman screaming in labor. Jessica. Tom stood at her side, whispering, "Just breathe. You're doing great. Soon she'll be ours."
I watched the video 5 times, trying to convince myself I was misinterpreting it. But there was no mistake. Tom was there during the delivery. He wasn't confused, he wasn't shocked, he wasn't even hesitant. He was coaching her through labor like a fucking husband! Not mine, hers! And that final whisper, "Soon she'll be ours," felt like a death sentence. I sat frozen in the dark, the laptop screen the only light in the room. My skin crawled with each detail, how he held her hand, how he smiled when the baby's cry filled the room, how he cut the cord. This wasn't just a cover-up. This was premeditated. He knew from the start. He planned it. And worst of all, he'd never told me. Not once. I had to know more. I clicked into another file. This one was a document labeled Consent Agreement Final, JB. It had Jessica's full name, signatures, notary stamps. But something was off. The consent wasn't just for surrogacy. It had addendums, pages and pages of dense legalese. A clause about postnatal visitation forfeiture. A confidentiality clause with a $100,000 penalty. A line that chilled me to the bone. In the event of biological inconsistency, the parties agree not to pursue claim of custody unless criminal wrongdoing can be proven. I stared at that last line, heart pounding.
Tom had locked this woman out of her child's life by legal trapdoor. And now I was complicit, unknowingly maybe, but still standing in the middle of the mess he engineered. I heard him shift upstairs. I slammed the laptop shut. I needed out. I grabbed my coat, keys, and phone. I didn't even know where I was going, just away. But as I opened the door, Tom stood there, like he'd been listening, like he knew. He didn't speak right away, just leaned against the doorframe in his gray hoodie, hands in his pockets, like it was a normal night. "Where are you headed?" he asked casually. I swallowed. "Out. It's late. I don't care." He nodded slowly. "You saw it." I didn't answer. "You talked to Jessica." Again, silence. He let out a long breath, then said, "I was trying to protect you." That snapped something in me. "Protect me? You stole a baby and lied for 6 years. "I didn't steal anyone," he shot back. "Jessica agreed. She signed everything." "She was manipulated, Tom. She was desperate, and you knew that. She wasn't fit to raise a child." My voice broke. "And you were the man who built our family on a lie?" He stepped forward. "Erica, listen to me. Mia is our daughter. You've raised her. You love her. Biology doesn't change that." "But choice does," I said quietly. "And you took mine away." He flinched. "Good. I want full transparency. No more secrets. If there's anything else, I need to know it now." Tom looked at me for a long time. Then he nodded. "There's something else." He led me to the office and opened a drawer I'd never noticed before, hidden behind a false panel. Inside was a box. When he opened it, I saw photos of other children at parks, schools, hospitals. None of them were Mia. "What the fuck is this?" I asked. He rubbed his face. Cryonova didn't just mix up embryos. They ran parallel trials, shadow families. They were tracking outcomes, health, intelligence, behavioral markers. Mia's pregnancy was part of study group Delta. I recoiled. "Are you saying they were using children as lab experiments?" "Yes," he said, hollow. "Mia's not the only one. And the company's being dismantled. Quietly. That lawsuit Jessica mentioned, it's the tip of the iceberg. The rest is being buried." I stepped back like his skin was radioactive. "All this time, you let us live inside a science project?" "I didn't know at first," he said. "I swear. But by the time I found out, I couldn't undo it. Mia was our life." I stared at him, at the stranger I married, at the father of my child who might not even be real. And then my phone buzzed again. A new message from the burner account. But this time, it wasn't from Jessica. It was a photo. A screenshot from a private medical portal. Subject: Mia Bennett. Note: patient enrolled in gene phase trial, group Delta. Weekly injections approved. Consent file pending. My stomach dropped. She wasn't just born into this experiment. She was still in it. I looked up at Tom. "You've been giving her drugs?" Tom froze and didn't deny it.
"Tom," I said, my voice paper thin, "what the fuck have you been giving our daughter?" He didn't speak, just stood there, face pale, lips parted slightly like he might throw up or run. I stepped toward him. "Answer me." "She was already in the program," he finally said. "Before the adoption finalized, before we brought her home.
The clinic gave us the trial meds as part of the postnatal package. They said it was for immunity support, neural development, harmless. You knew what was in them? No, he said quickly. Not at first. They were prepackaged, labeled as pediatric vitamins. I gave them to her once a week. It wasn't until years later I got access to the database and saw what the hell they were actually tracking. I could barely hear him through the sound of blood roaring in my ears. And you didn't stop? He tried, but when I stopped logging her doses in the app, they flagged my account. They contacted me, warned me it was a breach of contract. Erica, I didn't know how to get out. You could have told me. He looked at me, then, finally, like he realized it. Like the full weight of everything he'd buried had finally cracked through the surface. I thought I was protecting her, he said. They told me she'd get sick if I stopped, that she'd lose milestones. She's doing so well, Erica. She's smart, focused. What if they were right? What if stopping now hurts her worse? I didn't say anything. I couldn't, because inside me, something ancient and primal was waking up. The thing that lives in mothers, the thing that doesn't care about legalities or science or fear. Only survival. Only protection. I snatched the phone and opened the burner chat. Who is this? They replied instantly. Someone who got out. Meet me. Tomorrow. Public place. I'll bring records. Don't tell him. Attached was a location. Harrison Memorial Library. 2 p.m. I turned the screen toward Tom. You're not going anywhere near her until I get answers. He tried to argue, but I was already walking away. I didn't sleep that night. I sat beside Mia's bed, watching her breathe. I thought about her favorite snack, apple slices with cinnamon, her bedtime song, Moon River. My mom used to sing it too. The way she still believed in magic. She had no idea her childhood was a clinical trial, that her entire existence was an experiment. The next day, I showed up to the library 10 minutes early. I waited in the reading room with a view of every entrance. At exactly 2, a woman walked in. Short black hair, medical scrubs under a windbreaker. She scanned the room until she found me, then slid into the seat across from me like she'd done this 1,000 times. I'm Dr. Lena Ashcraft, Farmer Research Lead for Cryonova Delta Group. I didn't say anything. She placed a USB on the table. That contains the trial logs, dosage schedules, notes, consent forms, including your daughter's. I never consented. She nodded. Tom did. And Jessica. That was enough. I opened the files on my laptop right there. Thousands of entries. Mia's name came up again and again. Weekly dosages logged by Tom. Behavioral markers, language acquisition, emotional regulation, spatial learning, flagged anomalies, empathy delay, night terrors, mirror test error. My hands shook. What does this supposed to mean? Ashcroft leaned in. Your daughter was part of the empathy suppression trial. They were trying to engineer emotional dampening to prevent childhood trauma from affecting adult decision-making. I couldn't breathe. You're telling me they were experimenting on her soul? Ashcroft swallowed hard. I left the program after I realized they were testing on unconsenting children. Mia wasn't the only one. There were 27. I stared at her. How many are still alive? She didn't answer. But her eyes said enough. Why contact me? Why now? Because the last few of us are trying to blow the whistle before Cryonova wipes the data permanently. They've already erased most records. But your husband's files? He kept copies. I tracked you through his IP. I gripped the table. What happens if they find out you gave me this? They will, she said simply. And they'll come for you too. I shoved the USB into my back. Then we burn it all down. I drove home in a daze, heart racing. Mia was still at her grandma's. Good. When I pulled into the driveway, Tom's car was gone, but the front door was open. My stomach dropped. I stepped inside. Living room, trashed. Drawers open, files scattered. Office, computer missing. Upstairs, Tom's closet, empty. He'd run and left a note taped to the bathroom mirror. I'm sorry. I had to keep her safe. You'll understand someday. Below it, Mia's pink stuffed elephant was gone.
I called the police. I didn't even think. I just dialed 911 with trembling fingers and screamed that my husband had kidnapped our daughter. The dispatcher tried to keep me calm, but my voice kept cracking, my breath heaving. He took her. He took Mia. She was supposed to be with my mother. He left a note. Units were dispatched. An Amber Alert was triggered within the hour. And just like that, my entire block became a crime scene. But no one could tell me where they were. No GPS hits on his car, no activity on his credit cards, no surveillance footage from nearby gas stations. Tom hadn't just run, he had vanished. With my daughter. The next 24 hours were a blur of interviews, fingerprint dust, and questions I couldn't answer. Yes, we were married. No, I didn't know where he kept cash. No, I didn't know his backup phone number or his logins. Yes, there had been a custody issue, but no, there was no formal legal action filed because until yesterday, I didn't even know there was another biological mother. The detective assigned to the case, a wiry woman named Reyes, with eyes like razors, pulled me aside just before sunset. "You need to tell me the truth," she said. "All of it." So I did. Everything. The DNA test, Jessica, Cryonova, the drug trials, the burner messages, the file dumps, the USB drive, even the library meeting with Dr. Ashcroft. Reyes didn't flinch, but when I showed her the USB, she stepped back and said, "You have no idea what you're sitting on." I handed it over. "I just want my daughter back," I whispered. That night, I went home to a house that no longer felt like mine. No Mia singing from the bath. No Tom crunching numbers in his corner. Just silence. And then, ping! An airdrop request popped up on my phone. From a sender named Come Alone. The file? A video. I hesitated, then tapped accept. It opened to a dimly lit motel room. Tom was there, holding Mia, who looked confused but unharmed. She was playing with her elephant, legs swinging over the bed. Tom looked into the camera, eyes bloodshot, stubble thick across his jaw. "Erica, you need to stop. I didn't take her to hurt you. I took her to protect her. They were going to come, to take her back, to finish what they started." I leaned forward. "You gave the files to someone, didn't you? The USB. That was a mistake." He leaned closer to the lens. "They'll come for you next." Then he reached off camera and held up a bottle. Prescription meds. Labeled with Mia's name. The label read, Cryonova Labs, Gene Phase E, Pediatric Series, Delta Group. "This is the last dose," Tom said. "After this, we disappear. No more trials, no more oversight. Just us." I screamed. Not because I didn't understand, but because I did. He wasn't just running, he was preparing to dose her one last time, then disappear completely. Off the grid, no trace, no future. I called Reyes immediately. We traced the airdrop to a cell tower near Pinebrook. They triangulated the signal, sent a team. 2 hours later, they found the motel. But Tom and Mia were already gone. Room cleaned out. No meds, no elephant. Just one thing left behind on the pillow. A Polaroid. Mia smiling, holding a paper sign. It said, "I'm safe. I'm with Daddy. Don't worry." I collapsed in the parking lot. They opened a federal case. Cross-state jurisdiction. Tom was now officially a fugitive. Mia was labeled at risk due to experimental drug exposure. I was labeled biological mother, non-custodial, in the system while they sorted the paperwork. And that's when the final blow landed. Reyes called me 3 days later, her voice tight. "We ran a forensic analysis on the Cryonova USB. There's something you need to see." She emailed me a PDF titled Mia Bennett,
Patient profile final update. I opened it. There were charts, brain scans, developmental logs, chemical markers, and one line at the bottom of the report. Subject demonstrates full integration of targeted genetic modifications. Emotional dampening successful. Behavioral compliance exceeds threshold. I stared at it for a full minute before noticing the date on the report. It was filed 3 months ago, which meant Tom had known the experiment had worked and taken her anyway, because she was now exactly what they wanted, or maybe what he wanted. But that's not the part that broke me. It was the very last line. Permanent retention advised. Retrieval of asset, classified, non-reversible. My daughter was no longer a child in their records. She was an asset. And she was gone.
I stopped being a mother and became something else. A hunter. A storm. A goddamn machine. The FBI had filed a warrant. Cryonova's facilities were sealed and under investigation. Dr. Ashcraft had gone dark, either vanished or silenced. Jessica, the biological mother, lawyered up and disappeared into whatever hellscape she'd crawled from. But none of them could give me what I needed. Mia. I slept maybe 2 hours a night, ate cold coffee. I set up Google alerts for Mia's name, Tom's aliases, his known relatives. I trolled burner Reddit threads, biotech blacklists, conspiracy subforums. Cryonova was a ghost now. No public record, no contact info, just whispers. And then, 5 weeks after the last airdrop, I got a letter. Not an email. An actual handwritten letter, mailed from a private box in rural Montana. The return address, B. Teller? A name I didn't recognize. Inside, a single photograph and a sticky note that read, "This is the last one I'll send. Don't follow." The photo showed Mia standing in a snowy field, her cheeks pink, bundled in a purple coat. She was older, like she'd aged a year in just weeks. But her smile wasn't real. Not quite. It was too perfect, too still. And then I noticed something else. A tattoo, peeking out from under her coat's cuff. A number. Maybe 6 digits scrawled in small block letters on the inside of her wrist, like a barcode. I dropped the photo. My child had been tagged? I brought the photo to Detective Reyes. She scanned it, matched the terrain to an area near a Cryonova retreat facility, one they never listed in official documents. It was off-grid, surveillance blind, and privately owned by a shell corporation. Guess who signed the lease? Tom, under a fake LLC. They assembled a SWAT team. I wasn't allowed to go, but I followed anyway. Camped out 2 miles from the coordinates, listened to the radio chatter on a cracked police scanner I bought from a gas station. They raided at 4:13 a.m. What they found was worse than I imagined. Tom was there, alone. He'd rigged the place to burn. Files shredded, drives melted in the fire, Cryonova signs stripped. No trace of Mia, except her clothes, folded neatly in a bin, and a wall covered in Polaroids. Each photo showed Mia at different ages, different expressions, a timeline of her life under Tom's control. But every photo in the last row, she wasn't smiling anymore. She looked blank, gone, like someone had pressed mute on her humanity. Tom was arrested, delirious, ranting about finishing the treatment, about saving her from the system. He claimed she was better now, that her emotions had been optimized. He pled not guilty, declared mentally unstable,
And Mia? Still missing. But then came the twist no one saw coming. 1 month after the raid, I got another message from that same burner Instagram account. I warned you. Attached was a video file. I almost didn't watch it, but I did. The camera was handheld, shaky. It showed a hospital hallway, a nurse pushing a gurney with a child on it, under sedation, purple coat, stuffed elephant tucked under her arm. The nurse looked up briefly as the camera panned past. It was Jessica. And in the reflection of the hospital glass was me. Only it wasn't me. Same face, same bone structure, same fucking voice. She leaned into the camera and said, version 3.0, full emotional suppression, no loose ends. The camera cut to static, and I finally understood. They didn't just tamper with Mia, they cloned me. They made a new version of me to raise her, to replace me, to erase me. I sat in that kitchen for hours staring at nothing. The video burned into my mind like a brand. Then I opened my laptop, logged in to Mia's DNA profile, and added a new note under her name. Mia Bennett. Status: stolen, modified, hunted. Mother: Erica. Original. I'm still here. And I clicked share. With every biotech watchdog site, every whistleblower forum, every digital ghost still fighting the machine. Because if I couldn't find her, I'd make damn sure the world never stopped looking.